Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. It's Tips Tuesday. I'm Laura Rubenstein, founder of TransformToday.com, founder of SocialBuzzClub.com. I am super happy to be here, custom live streaming with you using Zoom and also using the pre-schedule option in Facebook. So, people are like, how can I pre-schedule my Zoom? And you can. It's very easy. You have to know a couple of tricks. One is use especially if you want to do a recurring show like I do here. And I know I've taken a break for a couple of weeks because I've been traveling, but I'm back now and I'm excited because we have this technology, right? We have Zoom, we have the pre-schedule option in Facebook. When you do that, use a persistent stream key that you can use and set up in Zoom. And I did this as a Zoom meeting. So for those of you who used to know that Zoom, you could only go live if you had webinar. Well, not only can you go live now with a meeting, you can go live with a recurring and put in a stream key there. If I think that stream key option may be in the pro account. So, but you can go live instantly on Zoom with I think it's either a free account or the basic account. So Zoom is a wonderful option. But actually, that's not what I want to talk to you today about in terms of tips. As you see in the description, it's about keeping organized. So how do you keep all your tools organized? How do you keep all your conversations organized? And I find that the best way to do that is through um, through Evernote. So I use Evernote, and it is my lifesaver. Why? Because if you're not organized, or you're just this much organized, it has a fabulous search feature. So if you remember one thing you typed in a note, you can find it. Okay. And then you have another rule. I have one other rule. But every conversation I have with somebody new, I put a Evernote note in there with their name on it. That's the title of the note, and what we talked about's in there. The two action items are in there, and I can always go back to that. Ideally, I've either scheduled those action items in my calendar if I'm not using a project management tool, or I use a project management tool to take those action items down. Or one of the best project management tools are, and I have a bunch of them here, but none of them are blank, is, believe it or not, sticky notes. I know people feel bad about using them. Don't feel bad. You know, don't beat yourself up. Just do what works. If it doesn't work, try something else. Just and if you love sticky notes, it's okay. It's okay. See if you can get better at using them just a little bit more. So, or rely on them less. I find I rely on sticky notes less if I have because I use Evernote. I use Evernote through the browser even. I tried it on my desktop. It freezes. I'm still on Windows 7. Yeah, but it's so reliable, so I don't want to change on my desktop. On my laptop, I've got Windows 10, but I know eventually I will have to do that. So sticky notes are great for organizing, but have a way of organizing them. Do you keep them on your desktop? Do you regularly go through them? What do you put on them? Get better at your system. So if it's not working, ask yourself, don't beat yourself up. Instead, ask yourself what would make it work better. Like I noticed I was putting phone numbers down without people's names. So what would work better is putting someone's name on there. So my basic tip though with the Evernote software is I gave up trying to file things in notebooks, and every once in a while I'll go back to those notebooks and I'll start filing things, but everything's in my inbox right now because the search is so simple. So if I think about a tool, so I use it for two things. I said one is conversations. Anytime I speak with somebody, whether it's a client, a prospect, a strategic alliance, a friend, we get a notebook, a notepad note in Evernote. At the very top, I put a few things. I put their phone number, I put their email, and I put their time zone slash city, country where they are. So I know how to call them. I know how to reach them. I know what time it is where they are. And I can always find it if for some reason it's kind of a backup to my phone, right? To um, uh, my contact list in my phone. It also serves as an easy way to find it if I am on my phone with Wi-Fi only. And I want to be able to find their information. I can look on the Evernote app. What's awesome about Evernote is, and by the way, I'm using the free version, so um, there are wonderful things you can do with the paid version that I don't do, like scan business cards and they automatically go into your contacts. So it might be worth upgrading for that. But I can, the other cool thing I use Evernote for, there's two other things I'm going to let you know, is when I'm writing Instagram posts. I can type it on my computer because I am really not the best. And if anybody has a tutorial on how to get really good at texting online on your phone or tips or an app that helps you, I have an iPhone. I don't have that swipe. I think I might be better at texting if I could swipe, use a swipe keyboard type thing, but I'm not swiper. I have an iPhone, and so I'm looking for tips on that. But in the meantime, I do type in my Instagram post on Evernote, copy them, and paste them into Instagram. So I've got usually a well-typed Instagram post. So that's the second thing I use it for. The third thing I use it for is writing blogs. So I I just create a note anytime I have an idea for an article. So I don't sit down to write the whole article necessarily on Evernote, but I might. I write interview questions and answers. So any kind of documentation that I might want to find quickly at some point, and really not sure, if I create a Word doc, unless your files are really super organized on your computer, it's harder to find it on your computer. There is a good, decent search on your Windows Explorer, so that will help. But I find that Evernote is so it brings up a preview of that note, and it searches really well. So I find it much easier if it's not beautiful presentations you need, then and documents like letters you need to send, then Evernote suffices for keeping track of everything you need to do. You can create a note that's called a to-do, and it's to-dos with a date, and you can do that once a week, or you can just keep an ongoing list. I've done that. And the thing I want you to know is my organization changes all the time. It gets better, it gets worse, whatever it is. But I'm constantly seeking ways to organize. I'm not constantly frustrated. So I just change the energy of that. And I say, well, this is cool system, but I want it to be easier. I want it to be what I want versus what I don't want. And then I do create that. And yeah, it may take a little bit of a transition from one to the other, but I don't make it a big project. Just keep moving forward. If you're if you've got some basics, like Evernote is my basic. Everything will default to Evernote, just use it and go there to use it. It's super easy to use. In the very beginning, thought it wasn't, and that was like a decade ago, and maybe even more. But then I realized, no, it's really stupidly easy. And you just add a note. You press that plus sign, you add a note, and you start typing. And that's all you need to do. Don't worry about creating notebooks. You can if you like that, if you're a super duper organized type person, or that's how you think. Go with how you think. The key to organizing is go with how you think. If you think in post-it notes, go with post-it notes. If you think in the other thing I have is a notebook. And I kind of morph between the three, four different things, and that's okay. I want to let you know it's okay to float between different systems and use them, for um, if I don't want to be typing while I'm on the phone with somebody, I use the notebook. And then I might, at least I set up a note. Here's a tip. Whenever I create a calendar item to meet with somebody, or somebody books a time on my calendar, I see it come through, I create an Evernote note and I put their name, their email, and their phone number on it, and the date we're scheduled to talk. So, and maybe where they came from, like why or the purpose of the call. Is it a meeting through LinkedIn? A lot of people contact me or I contact them. Is it a client call? Is it a prospecting? Are we going to talk about doing some work together? So, and then I'll take notes on that note during the call. So I can get a context when somebody calls me out of the blue, what feels like out of the blue, like we have never talked before, even though they're on my calendar. And and I know who referred them because that's on my calendar form. And so I just copy the information that's on my calendar form. It might even have their website so I can check them out on there. And I put that in the note. So I get a little pre-organized. Yeah, it takes maybe 5 minutes extra once a calendar item comes in, but it is so worth it because if I want to go back and 3 years later when somebody calls me back and I type their name into Evernote, because before I create a note, I'll see if there is a note in there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we spoke 3 years ago. And did you know we talked about the time when your daughter was going through this and just getting into high school and how's she doing? Is she ready for college? I can like think recall it and be a better connector that way. So Evernote is my go-to organizational, keeps me sane. It's not a super big system. Project management's a whole different thing. We'll talk about that on a later tip show, but I wanted to get on for about 10 minutes here and give you my little hacks for Evernote. If you have some, feel free to share them in the comments here. Share this video if you think this has gotten some good tips for you. I look forward to answering any questions. Feel free to message me here. Go to transformtoday.com, message me there. Get on our list. I have a free Savvy social media blueprint for you at transformtoday.com. Love to see you over there. Got an exceptional, if you read my blog right now, the one on why optimize your LinkedIn profile at the bottom has an opt-in to a whole training program on social selling through LinkedIn and optimizing my 12-step optimization checklist for you. Um, Let me know how it goes if you take advantage of it. It's huge. I also give you templates and my best messages that I've ever received on LinkedIn that got me to take action. And now I created some templates off of that. So we'll see you next time, next week, Tips Tuesday. Bye for now.